You guys are tuned into another episode of S&M Radio. I'm Shannon.
And I'm Mark.
So we decided the last time we did a movie kind of like this that we shouldn't do these anymore. Well, we don't learn our lesson. But this time around, we are talking about another new movie. I would assume it's a safe bet to say that this was a straight-to-streaming movie.
If it wasn't, then there's probably a lot of people that are very, very angry.
And we're talking about the 2016 zombie apocalypse movie called Zoombies.
Yeah, this is your typical Netflix horror flick. Probably was produced to go to Netflix, and it kind of reminded me of, what was that one we did about the beavers?
Zombievers.
Zombievers, that's right. Kind of I thought it was going to be very much like that. That one was actually okay. That one was all right. This one, not so good.
When I first saw this movie, and we talked about this a couple episodes ago, a little briefly, because I was like, oh, we're going to do another new one, and we were both like, zombies! Or Zoombies!
Yep.
When I first saw this pop up on Netflix, the first thing that I thought in my head was, there's no way that you can have a movie that has this premise, or at least what I assumed was the premise. I didn't really do any digging into it at the time, but the cover or the artwork for it is like this zombie lion thing. And the title of the movie is Zoombies, and it's Z-O-O, like zoo, and then the rest of it's like zombies. So what's the first thing that pops in your head? It's going to be a zoo full of animals that are zombies. That's got to be like awesome, and it's going to be horrible, but it's going to be horrible in all the right ways, so it's going to be funny and stupid and everything else that we've come to love in just cheesy horror comedy, which was not the case at all with this movie, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's like with Netflix, when you go on your screen for Netflix, and they show like all the different movies, and then they've got the little box with the picture in it. This is like your virtual video store. Like, remember when back in, when we were kids, you would go to the movie store, you go to the horror section, and there'd be this really cool picture on the box, and you'd be like, oh, I gotta get this. Well, I'll be honest with you, this Zoombies photo that they use on Netflix, you could call it the, quote unquote cover art, is very, very appealing. Like, it's like, wow, this is going to be a good movie. It's got like the monkey zombie thing on the cover, and you're like, wow, this is pretty cool. Okay, I'm going to run to the gas station. I'm going to get myself a bag of popcorn and, a 6-pack of Budweiser, and I'm going to, get all comfy and watch this movie, and it's going to be great. Well, yeah, just like you said, this one just turned out to be a flop.
This was one of the movies that I was so looking forward to, and turned it on, and I think I was probably 15, 20 minutes into it, and I was kind of like, okay, so when's the funny stuff going to happen? Or when's this going to... This movie is just way too serious for what it is. So this will probably be full of some spoilers. One of the other things, too, with this movie that I've found out when you're prepping for this episode was there is an IMDb page for it, which is fine. There's not really any information on that page at all. There is one sentence as to what the movie is about, and it says, when a strange virus quickly spreads through a safari park and turns all the zoo animals undead, those left in the park must stop the creatures before they escape and zombify the whole city.
We always talk about the difference between CGI and practical effects, and there's a point that both of those work really well for certain things. You need computer generated effects for certain things. You need it, and then you need practical effects for certain things. And we kind of talked about Krampus and how during that film they went back to the practical effects, and it really was cool. That like really made that film. This movie I would like categorize as it should be like one of those sci-fi movies like Sharknado or whatever octopus shark version, whatever monster movie that they come up with where the CGI is so bad that it takes you out of the film. In this movie, we got like zombie giraffes, okay? And at that point, when you see the zombie giraffes and that whole scene where they're attacking the guy, yeah, you lost me.
Well, that was the thing. It wasn't in Zombievers. We had zombie beavers. When you watch this movie, and folks, do not watch this movie. I'm sorry, do not watch it.
Yes.
And we usually say, watch the movie. Stay away from it, because you are not going to like it. Because if we hadn't committed to doing an episode on the movie, I would have turned it off. And there was a couple of times where I was almost thinking to myself, fuck it, I'm going to text Mark and be like, oh, we're not doing that one anymore, sorry. Just so I could turn the damn movie off. But
it's funny.
The movie, it's so bad, it has an IMDb page. There's not a Wikipedia page for it.
Yeah, I couldn't find one.
And there's a Rotten Tomatoes page for it, of course. But the same thing, there is a one line about the movie. There's nothing else about it. And that one says, a strange virus infects all the animals in a safari and turns them into undead beasts. And then it's up to a small band of people to fight back the creatures before they escape from the park. Which technically is not even really what happened in the damn movie. They weren't trying to save all of the animals from escaping from the park. The only thing they were trying to do was kill all the birds before the birds got out.
There was a big deal about the bird, what do they call it, the aviary or whatever they called that place, the big dome.
But this movie, one of the things when I first started watching this movie was like, oh, this should have been like a sci-fi movie. But it's not even that, because like Sharknado and what's the other ones, like Sharktopus and Were-Whale and all of those. I mean, those movies, they know they're ridiculous. So when you watch those movies, you're like, oh my god, this is so bad, but it's so awesome.
Right.
But this movie, like, it's almost like they decided that they were going to make a spoof of Jurassic Park because it totally had that feel to it.
Totally.
But somebody said, oh, whoa, this is going to be a serious movie, guys. We're not screwing around here. You guys are going to take your job serious, and we're going to make a real movie.
And that's where they messed up.
Yeah, because it was not funny at all. I read one review where one guy was like, oh, it was hilarious from start to finish. And like all of the comments on his review were like, I don't know what the hell movie you watched, but the movie I watched was not funny at all.
No, it wasn't. And it's funny because right before I saw it, I had just picked up the Alien box set, and I watched Aliens this morning. Aliens with Sigourney Weaver as Ripley as the main strong female role, and then there's the character Newt, the little girl, who is, and she's kind of taking care of Newt, and Newt has this, they have this relationship anyhow. Well, in this movie, there's a similar kind of characterization. There's the woman who is like the director of the park, and her daughter who is always with her, and this little girl, compared to Newt from Aliens, she can't act at all. All her scenes and every time she's on screen, you kind of cringe, especially as the movie progresses. I was very, very, very disappointed with that. The acting wasn't very good. Oh, like anytime, and like the effects were terrible. But like one thing that like really threw me out of the movie was every time like somebody like if there was a car accident or a monster or an animal attack or whatever, the character would be like thrown from a car or something. Like you would see like the car accident, and then you would see the characters like rolling around on the ground. It just was terrible. It was like a terrible cut, and it always threw me. I was like, whoa, that was bad. It could have been. I think it could have. I mean, the idea of like monster zoo animals is really, really creepy. And it could have worked, but like every scene was like broad daylight. And there was no like feel or anything like for like any sort of scare. It was just like, let's just have like as much sunlight as possible in every scene, and it just wasn't scary.
No, not at all. The only thing I would say that the only scene in the movie that I was really hopeful that there was going to be something that came from it, and that was that little girl that you had said who couldn't act, and then all of a sudden she's locked in this room with the zombie koala bear.
Oh yeah.
There was a moment there that I kept thinking to myself, oh man, this might be kind of good. And then you cut to the mom character breaks into the room and there's blood and gore all over the place, but then nothing happened. You're like,
well, yeah, and I was going to ask you about that. Like, there's two things I need explanations for, and I haven't looked into it. I watched the movie once. I watched it this afternoon, and I need to know, for one, how did that koala bear die?
well, not only that, but how did it even get in there?
Okay, well, there you go. And then the other question I have about the movie is, how did this virus spread, and like, where did it come from? Like, I didn't fully understand that. Like, did the monkeys in the cages have it, or did the monkey that was dead have it, or did they inject it into it? That part I didn't understand.
Yeah, the whole thing was, it was this whole, I have this weird idea. Okay, let's make a movie out of it. I haven't even written it down yet. I mean, it was just so unorganized, and you had these zombie animals that evidently this zombie disease was spreadable from one species to another species, but no humans in the movie got it.
Right. That's right. Yeah, because if one guy gets bit, nothing happens to him. And the other thing like that, like the death scenes were just terrible. I mean, they just weren't. The one girl, Megan, the intern, so she gets attacked by a wild boar, and then she's able to drive the Jeep back to where the rest of the characters are. Like, what? The beginning of it, basically you've got I don't know what her title was, but like the director of the zoo, and she's trying to live up to her grandpa's standards or whatever. And then she's got some interns coming, and all the interns were like, they seemed to like not want to even be there.
Yeah, there was like a punishment or something for them.
And then the one girl, like, she was acting like she was like maybe 15. She looked like she was more like 29, 30.
Oh, horrible, horrible, horrible movie.
Yeah, it's a Netflix. Was it a Netflix original?
No, I don't think it was.
No?
I think it was just I think it was just one of those movies that we just both happened to have seen, and we were like, oh, we should totally do it.
Right.
Which I kind of... Now I'm kind of torn on clicking on any stupid horror movie on Netflix now, because I'm like, oh, man, what if it's a piece of crap?
Right. Yeah,
because we've come across two of the movies that we did last year, Zombieverse, which was great. I think I saw that one 2 or 3 times. But Wolf Cop... that was another one of those movies that you're just like, oh my god, this is going to be ridiculous. Hell yeah, I'm going to watch it. Click.
Yeah, it kind of fell into the classic category.
Yeah, and that Wolf Cop, I mean, we were talking about this a couple episodes ago during the Psycho episode. Wolf Cop, I would have to put up there in maybe my top 10 horror movies, even though it's not technically a horror movie.
Right.
But I mean, I love Wolf Cop. If somebody said to me right now, "Hey, you want to watch Wolf Cop?" Yeah, hold on, let me hit end on this podcast. Let's go watch it.
Yeah, Wolf Cop was fun. Wolf Cop, Zombieverse, those two were fun, like Netflix type movies, But yeah, this one was a real drag.
Yeah, it was horrible.
Terrible, terrible, real horrible Jurassic Park kind of rip-off, and no payoff at all. Like, they could have done so much more with the animals and all that, and it just didn't work.
Yeah, that was my whole thing, was watching this movie. I got the Jurassic Park feel relatively early in it. I was like, oh, this is kind of like a spoof on Jurassic Park.
Yeah,
but
big
then
time.
And then I kept like trying to wanting to give it a chance. I was okay, so it's not funny. Maybe they thought it was supposed to be serious, but then nothing ever happened. I was just like, ugh. It was just horrible.
Yeah, and then another question I have is, the very end of the movie, zombie animals get into the bird cage, or the bird, whatever. I forget, they had a special name for it, and it was like where all the birds were located. So they affect the birds, and they're afraid because the birds can fly that they're going to get out and all this. And like a bald eagle or something is like nesting in somebody, and then like at the very end of the movie, like one bird flies off, but it's on fire because they like poured gasoline around this area, and so it's like flying around on fire. And then when the guy shoots it, it like literally disintegrates. So we're gonna have to give this one a thumbs down, I think.
Give it a thumbs down and flush it down the toilet.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're gonna have to be very cautious with Netflix from now on, I guess.
Now I'm reading some of these reviews, like on I'm on IMDb, and there's like everybody's like, "Oh, piece of crap," and then you have like the people that are sarcastic. And you're like, "Oh, this is the greatest movie ever."
Right.
Just horrible. Sorry, folks. You can have your 25 minutes back of this episode, I guess.
Yeah, we're sorry. We had to kind of have our purging of the episode, so we had to talk about it just to get it out of our systems.